September 30th. We are here back in downtown Cleveland here at Rocket Mortgage FieldHouse. It is 2024 Cavaliers Media Day presented by Cleveland Clinic, the official start date to the NBA season. It all gets going here today. The team doing their media rounds before heading to Sarasota, Florida later on this evening. Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylee Griffin, host of Cavaliers Live. I've got two special guests with me as well. John Michael, play-by-play for the Cavaliers, and Joe Gabriel, beat writer for Cavs.com as well. Guys, season's upon us. John, we'll start with you. What are you looking forward to most?
This is always a fun day, isn't it? It's always great just to be here and to get to see the guys again. It's been 4 long months since we've seen anything, right? Playoffs come to an end, the second round, and off we go. A little different, though, right? I mean, you mentioned it. The Cavs are taking their show on the road after today. This evening, actually, they head south, going to Sarasota. So changing things up, right? The roster is going to look a lot like it looked last season, which is good news, right? The Cavs went to work during the offseason, the front office. Donovan Mitchell, that's the big story, right? Donovan Mitchell gets the extension. So the team's going to look effectively the same, but they are, changing some things up. We'll see how it's going to shake out.
Well, Joe, let's talk about it a little bit because the Cavaliers, like John said, there was an emphasis on continuity, and we heard that from Kenny Atkinson and Kobe Altman on Friday. What can you tell us about the importance for the Cavaliers in getting those extensions done for the players like Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and Isaac Okoro?
Yeah, I thought the one statement that Kenny Atkinson made on Friday that hit me the hardest was he said, continuity is a coach's best friend. In that when you know that your guys are locked in, everybody's focused on this year. Nobody's worried about contracts. There's no side distractions. This is really, if you're a new coach, this is exactly the type of situation you want to come in.
Well, John, kind of going off of that, too, I think when we look at the NBA as a whole this offseason, especially the Eastern Conference, there's been a lot of changes. As recently as a few days ago, while the trade is still pending, we might see Karl Anthony Towns, it sounds like, with the New York Knicks. Paul George goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. This Cavaliers team, like you mentioned, looks pretty much the same, but how can that be a strength of this very young group?
Yeah, the summer's always fun, isn't it? Faces in different places, particularly here in the East. We're going to see new looks. Philadelphia looks entirely different. You mentioned the Knicks as well. Mikal Bridges on board, so that team's going to look significantly different as we move forward. I think the Cavs did what they wanted to do. Again, we've heard this for a long time. Locking up the young core, it's the runway that they want to provide for this team to get better. And when you look at this Cavalier team, they're still relatively young. I mean, a number of them are babies. Darius Garland, we talk about the 4 extensions, but Darius Garland, his extension just signed 2 summers ago, will now kick in. So here's this runway. Kenny Atkinson and crew comes in. Again, they're looking to shake a few things up, change a few things heading into the season in terms of some X's and O's. Also camp, changing up the location as well. But it is that continuity. I think that's what you want, right? The chemistry is already here. That's never been a question for this Cavalier team. The chemistry is here. These guys want to be here. They like playing together. Now, can they, ascend to that next step? I think that's the whole goal here as we move forward and kick it off today at Media Day.
Well, Kenny Atkinson talked about continuity, but he also mentioned the depth of this team coming in as a new head coach. And again, this group has been around each other at least for a full season, a lot of them for multiple years now. But, Joe, when you look at the depth of this team, Kenny mentioned that this team can really go 10, probably 11 deep. What does that allow him to do, and what do you like particularly about the Cavaliers bench?
Yeah, Kenny mentioned it on Friday, and I think that's music to Cavs fans' ears to go 11 deep because they do have depth this year. And I think that Kenny just wants to just get into it. I think there's just too many good players. Again, you talk about the rookie, you talk about Craig Porter in his second year. There are guys that really need to develop, and I think this is a perfect situation for him.
We heard the phrase peak performance at the right time, and that's always the goal in the NBA, right? No team is playing the same in November as they are in January, as they are in March, as they are in May. So the idea is get this team playing its best at the end of the season, and, Kenny said we're going to embrace our depth, and that means, he might not necessarily play 11 a game. When we're talking about going 11 deep, he's not going to necessarily play 11 a game. 10's a much more comfortable number right here in the NBA, but does he have the pieces? You have 4 point guards right now. You look at Ty Jerome coming back into the mix. He only played a pair of games last season, but he's in there as well, along with the emergence of Craig Porter. So you look at these different positions. There's a lot of depth right? We know that injuries take place, obviously, throughout the year for every single team. It hit the Cavs fairly hard in the middle of last season. So it is a nice luxury, and it's something that Kenny Atkinson plans on using as we move forward to attempt to get this team to be playing its best basketball as we head into mid-April.
Well, kind of off of that, John, you've had a chance to sit down with Kenny a few times so far this summer, and he mentioned on Friday that he wants to continue to put this team in positions throughout the regular season that prepares them for anything come postseason time. Now, this is back-to-back years that the team has gone to the postseason. They're gaining that experience, but again, they're still learning in the midst of this. What do you expect to see from Kenny Atkinson in terms of the adjustments he wants this team to learn during the regular season and ultimately pay it forward once they come to the postseason?
It's a great question, and I think we're going to see a number of things throughout the season. We'll see different rotations, but I think Kenny also said that they're going to try different things so that when teams adjust, everything's over-adjusted, right? When you come to postseason time, over-adjusted, the team knows exactly what you're going to do. They need to be able to do different things, and where do you get that experience? You get it throughout the season. So I think that's where you're going to see some adjustments. You'll see more personnel being used. I think they're going to go deeper, as we've talked about, and they're going to try some different things out so that they are ready come postseason time. I think that's, coming into the season, that's part of the big priority. Right? I mean, if you're running it back with the same club, which they are virtually, it's effectively the same team, something has to change if you want to take that next step, and I think we're going to see some of that as the season unfolds.
Joe, you've also had a chance to sit down with Kenny Atkinson this summer. Why is he such a good fit as new head coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Well, you look at his stretch in Brooklyn, and again, he really developed those guys. He's a great development guy. And that's what this team needs. Again, John mentioned that this is a young team still. And I just think Kenny is the perfect guy for this squad.
And he talks about his guards too, Kaylee. He said, yes, we have two of the greatest creators in the league in Donovan Mitchell and also Darius Garland. But we need to do what we can strategically, X's and O's wise, to get them more looks, get them the basketball. And, it all starts with Donovan Mitchell. We talked about the extension, and that is a big, big storyline, of course, coming into this season.
Yeah, no question. We're going to talk about Donovan Mitchell coming up. But right now, he is sitting down at the podium. Let's hear now from Donovan.
Wow. I can't say my family, right? Family. I'll probably say my phone and the basketball.
Phone and basketball?
Yeah.
I got you. And give me the first hoop shoe that you bought when you ran into some money that you bought that you wanted as a kid.
Adidas.
You didn't get it, and as soon as you ran into some money, you say, that's the first thing I'm getting.
Anything that was sorry, let me talk to the mic. My bad. I'd probably say anything that's Adidas. Anything Adidas for sure. I mean, why not, right? I mean, like for me, when I got traded here, it's no secret. I've said it. I thought I was going to New York, and I didn't know much about Cleveland. And from the minute I got here, I told my mom, and I think it was just like, I really like it here. Just the people. It's very convenient to travel, back and forth from where I live and getting around, and traffic's not that bad unless it's 5, obviously. But just the passion from the fans, being able to, the food is good. Like there's just, I'm a very simple person. I don't, need nothing too crazy. In Cleveland, have just been amazing to me. And then this is obviously excluding everything that happens on the basketball floor. I just mean as a place to live. For me, I love it here. And I said it on the first press conference. It gets cold, but I'm used to the cold. I dress better in the cold, and so for me, it was just like a no-brainer. And then obviously everything started, progressing well on the floor. And yeah, I've known for a little bit that this was my decision, but it's finally good to have a media day where we're not talking about where I'm to next. You know what I'm saying? I think that's pretty special.
Can you define a little bit how long you've known for?
I knew for sure, I would say probably around January, around the Paris game. I knew for sure. I had thought about it at the beginning of the year. It's been in my mind. I knew, but you kind of obviously have to do, your checks and all that. But I knew for sure probably January, February that this is where I wanted to be. So it was kind of funny watching everybody say that this is how I'm feeling, but I knew. Man, like I said, this is It's my first media day in probably 3 years where I don't have people asking me, like, what does it take for me to stay somewhere? I think that's people don't understate how it becomes a lot. And biggest thing for me, too, is not even just myself, but my teammates don't have to answer these questions because that's a real thing, too. People think about, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But, like, that's a real thing. It's a I don't want to call it a looming cloud, I guess you want to say. Every loss is like, what's going to happen next? You know what I'm saying? So it's refreshing, but it's also glad that, we're here, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be part of this group. And now the biggest thing is now that I've signed the contract and we're here, and now there's an expectation. It's not like we just signed and that's the end goal. We're happy, whatever. There's an expectation for us to do big things, and that's kind of where my mind is at.
Unfortunately, you didn't finish the year on the floor last year. How bad was the knee? How physically banged up were you at that point?
Yeah, it was. There's nothing structurally wrong at all. Just a lot of wear and tear. Past 2 years I've played probably the most minutes of my career from day one. So now being able to kind of take a different approach. Started the summer really late just because I wanted to give myself as much time as possible. So I really didn't start going full bore until August, which typically would start for me early July. So just kind of doing that and kind of taking a different approach to the summer just to make sure I'm all good and mentally confident. I feel great. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm in shape. But, it allowed me to kind of take a step back and start to, readjust how you do your summers. I'm not 22 anymore, but I'm not 33. You know what I mean? But there's a different way to approach the summer as you get older so you can continue your longevity and, yeah, obviously I would love to finish the season out there with my guys, but, it provided me with an opportunity to understand how, you go about your summers, what you take care of your body, have a full-time chef that goes basically wherever I go, like nutritionist, staff, everything. It's just been it's been a good summer as far as kind of the surrounding parts of what I have around me, and then getting ready for the year.
What kind of impact that Kenny Atkinson have on you?
I think a major one. I think that for what he did in Brooklyn, what he was around in Golden State, he's around winning. He was there on the team, on the staff that when we blew the 2-0 lead against the Clippers when we lost there. So I'm very familiar with Kenny and what he brings to the table, player development, and ways to make a group better. So I think for us, kind of watching him lead, and even through the month that I've been here so far, you just see the energy, the passion behind it, but also the experience, the strategy, and like I said, we've been in communication for a while, and when he was in Paris, it's like 4 a.m. and he's texting me like how to slip, what ways to slip out of screens and back screens and different actions and different things. So you can't complain when you have a coach that's doing that for sure. My love of gummy bears. I've loved gummy bears since I was a kid. So for me, when I have a collab with them that just came, they just kind of got teased out on IG today. I'm wearing the shoes today, but that's been my love for my entire life. So if there's one candy I have, and anybody knows me, it's a pack of gummy bears, just like those, the OG regular brand. Those are the best ones out there. So they're coming out soon. I can't say too much, but I appreciate that question because those are near and dear to my heart for sure.
Donovan, the NBA offseason hits. It's like every team might look a little bit different.
Yeah.
You guys are bringing everybody back.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on having so much familiarity with so many pieces parts of that?
Yeah, you know what's around, and I think we all see that we have a lot we can accomplish as a group, and I said it the other day, like I believe when we're healthy, we're a championship contending team, but unfortunate part is for the past 2 years, we haven't been a fully healthy team, throughout the year, been different spurts. So now the biggest thing is for us to put those pieces together on the health side, but then also put those pieces together on the floor, and obviously we have a new coach in Kenny here and different ways to go about the game. So for us to, as we internally grow, but also growing with him and growing with each other, you don't just throw a team together to make it to the championship. That's pretty tough to do. So for us, it's continue to take steps and building blocks, and finding ways to, compete at the highest level and win at the highest level.
Donovan, when Kenny and Kobe talked Friday,
Yep.
they were talking about how Kenny went out to Connecticut to meet with you, and then came back to, kind of, they said, led the charge for players back
Yep.
What have those interactions been like? How have you connected with him so far?
Yeah, I made the joke with him. I was like, man, this is the earliest I've ever been in market in my career. Yeah, it's been good. I'm excited. I think that just speaks to my level of excitement. And not even just myself. Everybody was here. For the most part. And I think that's what's special. Wanting to continue to get better, and for him to take the time out. Obviously being in Paris for the Olympic Games with the fly back and forth. It's no easy flight. To make sure he saw myself, Evan, Darius. You know what I mean, and all the different guys through summer league and whatnot. I think that's what stood out to me. And also, like I said, texting us at 4 a.m., going over, different strategies. And, that's what it's about, finding ways to execute. And, you do that stuff now. You don't do that. You don't wait until, the season gets going. So for him to, do that, I think is shows how much he cares, the passion behind it. But now we got to go out there and execute it on the floor.
A lot of people talk about what can Kenny implement, all the adjustments he can make. But what role do you guys play in your success? How can you guys help him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the month that we've been here. You start to form that relationship. I can, for you and I to start our relationship, on the basketball court, it doesn't just like we don't just walk in October 1 and be like, all right, how do we do this? It's chemistry. It's over time. So I think that's first and foremost. But then also going out there and executing. Trust. There's a trust factor, but that starts with getting in the gym early and all those different things. So, I think we can't ask him to trust us and vice versa if we don't show it. And I think with both sides, as players and as coaches, we've seen it on both sides. And I think that's where it starts. And then you have a week like we have coming up in camp and building the preseason and building. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's just building the chemistry, building the trust early.
What changes for you, if anything, now that you have this longer-term contract?
I mean, I think Danny said it. It's like you just know where you're going to be. You know where your feet are. You know what I mean? I mean, like I said, I knew since January, but even still, like I said, it's just a calming, vibe. You come in here, and I can come in here now and breathe. Like, you know what I mean? It's way more peaceful. I mean, obviously on the floor, I know what the group is. I know what we have. I know what it's going to look like. I know what I'm walking into. I think that's something that is truly understated, when you're going through, obviously, the rumors, I guess you want to say. So for me, now that I've signed, I know where home is. I'm happy here. There's a level of happiness. I'm in the community. I'm, doing all these different things. I'm watching. I'll be at the Guardians games next week. And then just different things, as an aspect outside of just basketball, like you can kind of lay your roots somewhere that you actually want to be. And I think that's special.
Donovan, this offseason, how was your workout routine? Was there more focus on weight training or basketball? Take us through that.
Yeah, with the late start, it was more weights, more stability, different things like that, just because I wanted to not do as much pounding on my body early on. So definitely more weights, but then these past 2 months have been nonstop ramp up with basketball. But for the most part, for the start, it was all weights and like I said, stability and different things like that. And then once we got to the later months, back to it.
Got time for 2 more questions, guys. 2 more questions.
Yep.
What does it mean to you to have him join this organization?
What's up, bro? Excited to be back.
What is this? Is Snapchat?
Yeah.
You still have a Snapchat?
Yeah, yeah, come on.
Year 8. We back at it, man.
Back at it.
Back here with TT on Snapchat.
The old fart, the young pup.
The old fart that still has a Snapchat is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is just for,
No. Do your thing. Yeah, work phone. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But good to see y'all. Year 8. We back at it.
We got you guys on both sides.
They said no jewelry. Hey, BJ, he got jewelry on.
Man, 14 years.
All right, baby. Man, that is a child. That is a child, and I'm a child too. So I think it's pretty dope. But he's a leader, man. He's he brings the energy, as you can see, brings the vibe, lightens the mood for everybody in the locker room. So that's gonna be exciting. Glad to have him back. I know the city is excited to have him back too. Sorry, your question. My bad. Yeah, I mean, I've said it in interviews. You know, I equate, you know, a lot of my success to the work him and I have done in Utah. You know, like my routine, you know, my thoughts for the game. A lot of it was Quinn Snyder as well. But Quinn and Johnny were very close, obviously, and whatever, you know, Johnny was teaching me at the time was obviously going through Quinn. But, you know, he's done it at a high level. But also more so, he's like a brother to me, you know, someone that, you know, has been there for me in a lot of different ways. Not even just on the floor, so it's great to have him here. But not even just for myself. I think he'll be great for the team as far as, you know, what he's done in his career. He'll be a head coach at some point soon. But for me to be able to see him, you know, he's seen me grow, but to see him grow as a coach at the highest level is special, and he'll be a great addition for it's not just myself. I mean, everybody knows him as our relationship, but he's been great with the guys, and I think it'll be great, you know, for the team as well.
Last question. Darius's reputation took a hit last year due to a lot of factors outside of his control.
Yeah.
How much of a boost can you guys just to get him back at his physical best?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. I think it's you go through these points in your career. I've been through this a few times. You know, I think for him, my biggest thing is always how do you respond? You know what I mean? There's always going to be something. There's always going to be. He's been Mr. Cleveland. He's been Mr. Cavalier since he's been here. So for us and for him, it's like just continue to keep working. You know, we trust in you. We all believe in him and what he's capable of. So we're here to have his back. We support him, and you know, for him to go out there and do his thing, and he's ready. I know he's excited. But obviously, public criticism is part of what we do. It's going to be a thing, and I think he's ready to kind of shut everybody up.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it.
From one extended player in the offseason to another, let's hear now from Evan Mobley.
Yeah, he came out early on when he first got hired, and just wanted to come out and see me and really get a connection with him and talk about season and what's going to happen moving forward and stuff like that. So it was great when he came out here. A few coaches as well came out there to just work out with me and just get me ready for the season. A lot more usage this year, a lot more playmaking with the ball in my hand and me trailing into the top of the key and flowing into offense, and a lot of different ways that you guys are going to use me. And but yeah, overall I think it's going to be a great year.
Did you learn anything? Did you pick up anything the last couple of games against Boston in the playoffs? What did you learn from that? What did you see?
During that playoff season, that playoff run, it's definitely a different game, and I feel like throughout the whole course of the season, you got to just build on things and really get the team on all cylinders around that time of the year, and that's the goal this year. That's what we're going to build.
Did you get any confidence from those last couple of games you had against the Celtics?
Yeah, for sure. Especially the last game, I feel like I did good. I stepped into my own, and I'm just going to try to carry that momentum into this year.
You've been around here for a while. Obviously, the NBA, it's always changing. You guys are running it back. It's very unique. How eager are you guys to build on what you guys did last year?
Very eager. I feel like we had a good season last year. Didn't end how we wanted it, but this year we have a similar team, same team coming back, same main guys, and different coaching staff. But I think overall we're going to do just as good as last year and hopefully better.
Is there a portion of your skill set that you think Kenny can kind of unlock in this offense with you specifically?
Yeah, just using me in different ways, and initially may not be the best at things, but just throwing me out there to try new things and get better with time as I get put in different situations on the floor, and just me being in different situations will definitely have a different aspect to the game.
Is that exciting, just knowing that things are going to be a little different maybe for you this year?
Yeah, very exciting. I'm looking forward to this year a lot. Just really lock us on right now at training camp from the start of the season, and just getting on the same page, building that chemistry with the coaches, with the players, and so when we get into playoffs and during those hard times, we know exactly what page we're on.
You mentioned there are the things that you might not be the best at right now. You need to work How important is it for you to have the space to be bad at them before you can be good at them?
I feel like that's very important in just your learning process. Just taking your time, sitting with things. Initially, you may not be the best at it, but you just take the steps to keep working on it and keep working on it. You're going to get better. So that's been my approach since I came into the league, and I feel like I've been getting better in every aspect of my game.
What was your offseason like in terms of weight room, on the floor? What was that transition?
It was very calculated. Weight room basically almost every day. In the beginning, that was the main focus, and then as the summer went on, got on the court gradually, worked on a lot of shooting. As I worked on that, built up, and started doing a lot more contact with coaches and trying to get downhill and imposing my will in the paint and stuff like that, and just gradual build up throughout the whole season, throughout the whole summer.
Did you put on weight this summer?
Yep.
About how much?
I'm not gonna put a number on it, but definitely gained weight and definitely am stronger.
Evan, and being a student of the game, who is the most underrated player in your mind in league history?
League history, underrated. That's a hard question. I don't even know. League history. That's too many people.
How nice is it to not have to answer questions about Donovan Mitchell's future anymore?
That's nice for sure. I try not to pay attention to all that in the first place, but it definitely feels nice that we have everyone back and we know who we're going to rock with, and we're just going to keep building with this team.
What does go through your mind, though, when you see so many teams around the NBA making all these big additions, and then you guys basically bringing back the team that you had from last year?
I think we're comfortable where we are. I like all the aspects that we have to our team and all the people we added last year, and I feel like with the new coaching staff, we can bring that all together even better. And also with us playing another year together, it's just going to keep elevating.
Reagan and Harris both mentioned how impressive you were during some of the workouts and summer runs. Do you feel like you've taken the next step forward in the game?
I definitely feel that way. That's the goal, is just keep taking those steps and keep striding, moving forward until you reach where you want to get to.
Is there a particular skill you feel like has allowed you to take that next step forward?
Not necessarily, just mindset, mindset based, I would say, and just putting more reps in, and just over time, you're just going to gradually get better at things, you know.
What's a personal goal that you'd like for this year for yourself?
Definitely all-star, start there, and definitely get back in the defensive player conversation. Those are two big things I'm definitely looking forward to really lock in on and take to heart.
How much has your confidence growing playing shot outs?
Both those areas, they've risen a lot. I've put a lot of reps over the summer on both of those things, so this year I would say you're going to see a lot of that.
Frank said a little bit about how you're not hesitant anymore when it comes to the three-point shot. How long did it take before you just became fluid and natural?
That's just like a mindset thing as well, just shooting it when you're open, shooting it with confidence. I've been practicing all summer, been making it all summer, so just shoot it with confidence. They're going to go in.
You mentioned the mindset thing. What, if anything, changed with your mindset? Was there something that led to that?
No, just trying to get better. I feel like as a person, as a human being, you just gradually evolve your mindset, gradually evolve your mental, and that's just how you get better as a person.
Tough season for DG last year. You've been around him your whole career. How excited are you to see what it's like when he's healthy and coming back and coming into a training camp clean and obviously show his ability?
I'm super excited. We obviously know what he can do. We saw his all-star season, and me just playing with him since I've got here. I know him very well, and he's a great player. Last season is just last season. That doesn't define who you are at all, and I'm excited for this year. I think he's going to do great.
Has he talked to you about bouncing back this season and trying to do what he can do?
We have conversations here and there, but I already know he's already in that headspace and knows what he got to do. So Yeah.
What did you kind of prove to yourself or learn about yourself? You had a couple of significant injuries last year, but you still were able to make some strides.
Just mentally, just staying locked in and knowing that you can overcome things. I had an injury last year, but mentally I feel like that didn't really stop me. I feel like it was just like a platform for me to bounce off and get even better from. So, just having that mindset of just keep going.
And I know it wasn't, from outside looking in, it wasn't a surprise that you got the contract extension. What was that moment like for you and your family? And what was your reaction?
That was a great moment. I mean, getting that contract is definitely a big step and a big accolade for me and my family and what we're able to do. And just like the feeling behind it and knowing that this organization is backing me and really believes in me, and that feeling was just amazing.
Personal preference, forward or center? I mean, do you have a preference?
Nah, just whatever.
Evan, with the uncertainty, confidence thing that you were talking about earlier, I'm sure that's been talking about your whole life. How many coaches have been telling you, Evan, take more shots?
That has been a topic here and there, but a lot of my coaches also know that I'm a very smart player and always make the right play, so they trust me in just doing that.
To that point, how much of what could be seen as uncertainty is the last couple of years, like, I have Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell on my team, maybe I should get them involved?
It's a mix of both, so just me learning to fine-tune that on when I need to take mine and when I need to make the right plays, and just fine-tuning it and getting better with that.
Last question.
Talk a lot about half court. What do you foresee this team's attack to be like in transition?
In transition, a lot of just flowing into different offenses pretty quickly, playing pretty fast, and me in the trail position and just playing either side from there.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Yep.
Jeff.
All right, a lot of good stuff there from Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. John, let's start with Donovan. I don't think I'm misspeaking when I say that Donovan Mitchell was the priority this offseason. And as we've heard from him since he signed the extension, speaking here again today, it was something that he knew he was going to do probably around January or February. And he showed his commitment not only to this organization, but to the city by showing up at the Muni lot, keg bowling with the Browns fans. He talked about going to the Guardians playoffs. He is all in on this city. Why is Donovan Mitchell such a good fit for Cleveland?
I think it's great. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But we were laughing about this, that it seemed that in the national media, obviously, that you hear the stories, he's going somewhere else, and we hear this time and time and time again. But I mean, Donovan's been consistent since day one. He said, "This is where I want to be. I like being here," and guess what? Here he is. And I'm going to ask him about this tomorrow. We're going to see him on Cavaliers training camp nightly, which is going to run tomorrow all the way until Saturday. But it was a narrative that wasn't coming from anywhere around here, and I love that you bring that up, right? I mean, he's embraced this city. I think he likes just the blue collar nature of what he's seen here, and they've embraced him. He's embraced the city. And again, I don't think there was much of a question. He's consistently said, "This is where I want to be. I like the organization. I like the pieces that they have put around me." And now, we couple that with the runway that this young core has. And now as they continue to move forward, do they add a piece or two as we continue to progress and get better as a basketball team? That's something that they're going to consider, obviously, as we move forward and progress from year to year. But that's all in play because the core is together, and it starts, as you mentioned with Kaylee, the number one priority, make sure Donovan Mitchell remains a Cavalier for the foreseeable future.
And not to mention, Donovan Mitchell has had his two best seasons in the NBA as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers organization. So there's a commitment from the organization to build around him. But he himself has played his best basketball here in Cleveland. He talked about his relationship with Kenny Atkinson, and Kenny spoke about it on Friday as well in terms of his commitment going from France, where he was part of the national team, to Vegas to see some of the young players at Summer League, to going to Greenwich, Connecticut, where Donovan Mitchell spends his offseason with his family. That is such an important bond to build with coach and star player. How important is that going to be? And to see the commitment on both sides to build that relationship in the offseason, what does that tell you about their dedication to winning now?
Yeah, it's a big deal from Kenny Atkinson. It might not sound like much, but I don't think anybody would have faulted Kenny that after that wild Olympic tournament, which was incredibly entertaining, if he would have taken a couple days off, right, to recharge the batteries and get ready for another head coaching job in the NBA. But that's not what he did. Right? I mean, it was important for him enough to make sure that he went out and visited his players. You talked about the visit to Connecticut to Donovan Mitchell. He also went to the West Coast to visit Evan Mobley. He went to visit Darius Garland as well. So it's not specific to one player, but it was important enough for Kenny to establish that trust, establish that relationship. And again, we heard it at the introductory press conference. The introduction of Kenny is to attempt to take this team to another level. Where does that start? With the bonds, with the relationship, with the communication, with the chemistry. And Kenny is quickly ingratiating himself into this culture, as fast as he can. Olympics over, back here with the Cavs, and we're going to see how it plays out. But it starts with training camp tomorrow. The Cavs, this is not what they do. The Cavs typically have training camp at Cleveland Clinic Courts in Independence. They make the decision, hey, I think it's time to change some things up. That's what we're trying to do this season, do things a little bit differently and see where it falls. And off they go tomorrow. Actually, off they go tonight for the start of training camp tomorrow in Sarasota.
And Kobe Altman said on Friday that, hey, when we went to Paris this past season, it was a bonding experience for us. It brought the team together like we really hadn't seen, which was a big point of focus in bringing training camp down to Florida this season. We talked about the continuity, John, and Donovan Mitchell talked about it in his media availability in terms of the health of this team. This is a team that has fluctuated with injuries and dealing with illnesses throughout both of the last two seasons. Last year hit really hard with injuries multiple different times. So there was, for lack of a better term, not a ton of continuity in the regular season in terms of finding those lineups that worked. But let's talk about the relationship between Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, because that has been a point of emphasis from Kobe Altman and the front office in saying, hey, we have two of the most talented young guards. We have one of the most talented backcourts in the NBA. We're not giving up on them because we know what they can do. And Donovan and Darius have equally talked about how they believe that they are the best backcourt in the NBA and can continue to thrive at a high level, a championship level. What are you hoping to see from this pairing this season with both of them healthy?
When you look at the numbers also, the numbers are much better than it's portrayed nationally. That's one thing. Another thing is, you mentioned it, they were in and out at different times last season. I mean, Darius Garland was drinking through a straw for 6 weeks, right? After the broken jaw, Donovan Mitchell had to move over to the point guard spot. I think they're comfortable, the two players, not only playing with each other, but knowing that they can thrive. And Kenny mentioned it just the other day. He said, I sent these guys a text that said, statistically speaking, they are one of the best backcourts in the NBA. So if you don't believe it, here it is in black and white. So obviously that's a huge part of this team's success, right? That's a huge part of how this team's going to do, how those two are able to play together in the backcourt. I think they're confident. I think they're comfortable being able to do so, when you look at defensively as well, right? It starts up front with Darius Garland and with Donovan Mitchell, how they are the point of attack. Kenny Atkinson said, we've always rated, as an opposing coach, we've always rated Darius Garland as a plus defender, right? So, which is a big deal, right? And he talked about that and how they can enhance what they're doing out around the perimeter. But if you get by those perimeter guys, what do you have in the back? You have the likes of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and it was nice hearing Evan out there talk about his new extension as well. And you could tell Evan's comfort level is exactly where you want it coming into this season.
Yeah, no question. Well, we just talked about Darius Garland. He's getting ready, sitting down at the podium now.
About you?
Good. So, every offseason there's usually a focus or priorities. What was yours like?
Trying to stay healthy, try to gain some weight back, try to get stronger and work on myself.
Friday, Kobe talked about you made this place cool when you first got here with the Pops and everything. You're now the most senior cast. Do you feel like the Godfather now?
It doesn't feel like it. But everybody keeps telling me I am the Godfather now, so I mean, I'm taking it, you know. But I'm 24, so it doesn't really feel like I'm the longest, but it's cool being the longest here. So I got some stuff going on.
You mentioned getting your weight back, getting strong. When you had that setback for overall, were you ever the same throughout the rest of the season, or were you constantly playing catch up?
Yeah, I was playing catch up the entire rest of the season. Being down 15 pounds going to the second round of playoffs isn't the best way to go about it. So just had to just go with it, had to just run with it, and just try to be my best and try to put my best foot forward just to help this team go to the next round. And yeah, that's all I was doing, just really playing catch up, but really wasn't myself and wasn't my best version out there.
Obviously.
What's up, my guy?
Obviously, it's unfortunate when you go through something like that. Is there anything positive in the Cavaliers that we can lesson learned?
Yeah, it's going through another bump in the road, some adversity. Always just make you tougher, make your mind a little bit sharper. So, yeah, just going through adversity and just try to bounce back from that. And that's the only thing I learned from that, bro, to be honest with you.
What was the frustration level for you last year, like in total?
It was very high because I really wasn't myself. Like I said, just being down 15 pounds and trying to play in the playoffs against however tall these guys are is kind of tough. And it gets more physical too. So a lot of fouls not being called, a lot more pushing, a lot more holding. And it was pretty tough. So some frustration for sure. But this summer I just had a lot of time to bounce back and try to get my body back right and just try to focus on myself.
Darius, so much, obviously Kenny comes in and he's raved about just the combination of you and Donovan together out there on the floor and the potential that you guys can have. Just what excites you the most about what he brings to the table as a coach and the system that he's going to run that you think you can hopefully thrive in?
Yeah, everybody's really excited for Kenny. Everybody knows he's a really offensive coach. He always tells me he's a guards coach as well, so he's really excited for me and Donovan to get together and we can really pick his brain. We can learn from him as well. So everybody's super excited, really offensive minded, but he's also said that we're going to have the defense on lock as well. So hopefully being top 5 in that as we are in the last couple of years. And yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty excited, bro, to be honest with you. Everybody's super excited. A lot of smiles in the facility every day, a lot of jokes. So it's a really good vibe right now.
A lot of people think there's this idea out there that like you and Donovan can't play together, but what is your response to that?
We've been here for 3 years now. We're going on 3 years. We made a jump every year, made some improvements. So I think it's working if we keep improving every year. So the typical fan might not see that, but the people that really understand basketball and know what's going on, they really see it. And a lot of people don't see what we have outside of the court as well. We have a real relationship outside of the court. We go to dinners, we go out together, drink wine together, whatever it is. So, I mean, that's my brother. We know what the social media and everybody's going to say about it, but we know when we get between these lines and what our relationship is like, we're locked in for sure.
Darius, what does it mean to you to have Donovan have that commitment to the team?
It's really cool to see. I mean, he loves his city. He wants to be here. He wants to play with us. So we're super excited to have him back. He's happy to be here, most importantly, for himself. And it's super cool to see like a star like that just really committed to this team. So he's a winner. That's what we all here to do. We're here to win and try to get better every day. So super excited he's here. I know he's excited when he gets up here. Hopefully he talks about it a little bit more. But everybody around the city, around the organization is super excited that he's here.
Darius, he mentioned that there was a weight off of him because he's made his decision and he knows where home is going to be. In any way, do you guys as players feel that weight lifted as well because you know that Donovan is going to be here and you don't have to answer those questions or think about what could be in the future?
I mean, I'm not really answering questions for Donovan, so I don't know what it's like. But yeah, I guess the weight is off. the speculations and other stuff is going on around the league. So it's cool that he's definitely settled down here. We're all super happy he's here, and I bet everybody else around the city and the organization is too. So we're happy. It'll be out there soon, but I definitely gained a couple pounds, got a little bit more muscle on me. So yeah, I'm excited for the season. Try to put some of this to use. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all about heart and the will to do it. So I think that I'm there to do it. Definitely got a little bit stronger, a little bit more weight on me. So guys trying to attack me, and hopefully I can just stand in front and kind of body up. But even on the offensive end, just try to go through a couple people's chests, use some of the muscle that I put on this summer.
You know, it's such a severe injury on such a routine player. Did that make it harder to kind of mentally process what happened to you last year?
No. I'm just here to be aggressive, go be me. I'm not really worried about the injuries that's happened in the past. Kind of over them. Just a couple weird injuries that just happened, and hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Darius, who has the best fashion sense on the team and who needs some help?
Best fashion sense, I'm going to go with me and Vert, who needs some help. Not going to speak on that. That's my boy, though.
All right. A bunch of other teams around the NBA, Darius, made moves, and you guys decided that you were going to run it back. You got 13 and 14 from last year. What goes through your mind when you see that process unfold?
Everybody's bought in. Everybody wants to be here. The people up top really believes in this group, and everybody in the locker room believes in everybody as well. So when you put on that jersey, we know that we're going to have one another's back. And we're going to go out there and try to win a game. That's all we're about. We're going to compete at the highest level and try to do our best.
To the point talked about buy-in. So much is made of new coach, new ideas. What can Kenny do for you guys? How much can you guys help him succeed? What's your role in that?
Just being a listening ear, and then just try to tell him some of the stuff that's kind of worked for us in the past, and just try to do it in his way. Just try to revamp it in the way he wants to do it. Especially like on the defensive side of the ball. I know we've been top 5 for the last 2-3 years now, probably 3 or 4 years. So just try to tell him like some things where we were pretty good at, and some things that we probably need help with, so he can put his little twist on the things that he wants to do. And yeah, but we're gonna let Kenny rock, to be honest with you. Kenny's a really good coach, and we're just gonna try to learn the best from him.
Darius, I got a scenario for you here. 5 seconds left. ISO. You got the ball in your hands. Walk me through your ideal way to get a bucket.
I don't want to do that though. You're giving away my secret. That's a 4-quarter time. What the game look like?
Down by 1. It's been tight defensively all game.
Down by 1. It's early in the season. Playoffs, you got to get a 2. It's going to be a pull-up 2 in the playoffs. Nobody's going to.
Or your floater. Right?
What are you talking about?
So in your game, you're going to make a shot, right? With your floater.
You don't even know what the question was.
What was the question, man?
See?
5 seconds left. ISO. Down by 1. What's the ideal bucket?
DG's going to take the floater to win the game.
Take the floater or pull up 2. He said in the playoffs too, so you're not getting a wide open 3.
I like when he shoots his 3 and then he like kicks his feet. You guys ever watch that when Darius makes a couple threes and kicks his feet up and starts like galloping? Right, DG?
Have y'all seen Tristan get a rebound and dunk, and he just pumps his chest and screams?
Yeah. After the 25 games.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. Yeah, no more 25 games, CT.
Kenny talked about your pairing with Ricky a couple years ago about like a template of how to play this year. What about that pairing do you think translates over to this offense?
Well, he told me it's going to be a lot more down screens for me, a lot more off the ball actions for me, so I get a couple of catch and shoots. Yeah, that was pretty much it. A lot of off-ball actions for me. Get a couple open ones.
How do you think the offense overall is going to be this year?
A lot more spacing. A lot more room for everyone to attack. A lot more driving angles. So when we get in the paint, it's a lot more catch and shoot opportunities for some of our great shooters, and a lot more movement around in the offense. A lot more ball movement, a lot more player movement, some more cutting. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Darius, when you go through a situation last year where a lot of stuff happened out of your control, and then you mentioned like social media or casual fans are piling on you, how do you manage the frustration that comes with that? Because you're just like, guys, can't you see what's going on? I'm dealing with a lot here.
Right. I really don't look at it, to be honest with you. A lot of people send it to me or something. I just come across it from a text message or something. But yeah, the media stuff doesn't really get to me. What really matters is what this organization really wants and what they hear and what they tell me. So just really worry about the organization, not really worry about the outside.
Donovan said you're ready to shut people up. How do you do that?
Play my game, go be myself. Don't really worry about the outsiders, like I said, and just go be me. Go play my game, be out there free, go be happy.
I know you said you don't worry about it, but there was outside noise about maybe wanting out. How did you handle that?
Had a talk with Kobe, and he was pretty upset about it. And when your GM is pretty upset, it's not a good look for the outsiders. So I knew that he wanted me around. I know he wanted me to be a part of this organization. So just try to brush it off and just try to lock in on myself and what the organization wanted from me. Yeah, I told him that I wanted to be here, and he knows that as well. So it wasn't really a long conversation about it, but definitely seeing the outside. And when Kobe shut it down, I knew it wasn't a good thing for everyone else to just keep egging it on. So just shut it down, and I just shut off my social media and just told myself just keep going for myself and what this organization needs.
Where did that idea come from?
Excuse me, one last question.
Where did that idea come from that you wanted that?
I really don't know, but it came out and it was definitely false. So.
A few people talked about how they've seen Evan improve throughout the summer. Have you seen that, and what areas?
Yeah, Evan's definitely got a lot more physical. He's got a lot more stronger, and he's just getting older. It's his 4th year in the league now. We're going on forward, and just the experience, just the games that he played, the big-time games he played. And I think the Boston series helped him a lot last year, just getting the feel of the playoffs and what it really feels like. And, I mean, you could definitely see a big improvement from him over the summer.
6 champions, 6 different champions in the last 6 years. You probably make a strong case for about a half dozen teams at both conferences. Does it feel as wide open as ever for a title?
Sorry, this is the last question.
It is pretty wide open, but it's a lot of talent around the league that's spread it everywhere. So, I mean, you just have to put your hard hat on and go in and just try to do your best. I mean, it's a job, so everybody's going to be coming and gunning for you. And like you said, it's wide open, so it's free game this year.
Well, Darius Garland certainly ready for another season here in Cleveland, John. Funny that he ended by saying you got to put your hard hat on because he has dealt with so many freak injuries over the last few seasons. You pointed out having to have his jaw wired for 6 weeks, including going to Paris and having to sip all of his food out of a straw.
I forgot about that part, yeah.
Terrible.
Bad timing, yeah, right?
I can't even imagine what he had to go through on that trip. But Darius is dedicated to this team. He is motivated to show what he can do and to get back to an all-star level. What do you anticipate seeing from DG this year?
You know, let's start here. I don't think you can overstate the sacrifice that this guy had to make with Donovan Mitchell coming to town. Remember, he was an all-star just a couple of seasons ago. It was his team to run. Donovan comes in, and as graciously as you can do, Darius said, yeah, let's share this backcourt together, and it's paid some dividends moving forward. So I think he's primed for a big year. It was It was one of those seasons last year where it was just so many stops and starts, Kaylee. It just seemed like he couldn't get a rhythm and couldn't get going. And he's geared up and he's heard it, and I think he's put himself in a position where he's ready to go. You would talk about another player who's happy to be here and who's thrilled that, who he has around him. He said this team just jives. He said that just a couple of days ago when asked about, his thoughts moving into this season, what he thought about the roster running it back. So I think he's primed and ready to have a big season. He, too, wants to be here, and we're going to see how it all plays out. But I'm excited to see what he brings to the table this year.
We talked about the relationship between Donovan Mitchell and Kenny Atkinson, but Darius Garland talked in depth just now about his relationship with Kenny. Again, Kenny making an effort to fly to Nashville amongst all of his stops throughout the summer. But there's maybe an even more unique relationship between coach and point guard, especially when it comes to the floor. He is an extension of the head coach out there on the court. Darius Garland saying, hey, we had a lot of things that did work over the last few years. He pointed to the defensive end of the floor. This has been a top 5 defense for the last 3-4 years, and that's something that's got to remain the same. But he does know that there are tweaks to be made, especially on the offensive end. How important is that relationship going to be?
Well, I think the relationship's even more heightened when your head coach happened to be a pretty good point guard in his own right. I mean, Kenny Atkinson, the Richmond Spider, took that program to the Sweet 16, had a professional career of over 10 seasons, primarily in Europe. But he said Darius Garland might be the player I'm most excited to coach. And I think a lot of that stems from him being a point guard himself. So, right, that's where it all starts, right? He's the straw that stirs the drink and gets you going and gets you into the offense. Kenny also pointed this out, and I think this is important to note. He said, he almost said it in passing at the introductory press conference, but he said, he made a reference to Garland getting most of his actions through pick and roll. And we saw a ton of Garland actions. I mean, for the last couple of seasons, going to pick and roll, and I think even late in games where other teams may have, been anticipating what's going to happen when Darius Garland has the ball in his hands. Kenny said, look, we're going to try to change that up. Darius has had to work too hard to get his stuff, right, to get his numbers, and we're going to try to do some things to change that up. I'm excited to see what that looks like. That Garland and Mitchell together in terms of getting them more catch and shoots, but particularly Garland, the man who has the ball in his hands the most,
right.
How this is going to look when Kenny Atkinson puts his fingerprints, his imprint upon this club.
Yeah, Atkinson known for his ability to create some unique schemes offensively, so that's something that this team is really looking forward to exploiting. We haven't talked yet about Evan Mobley, who we heard from just a little bit ago, and he is going to be one of those players that Kenny has talked a lot about using in a different way. First of all, upping his usage, but finding different ways to get him integrated in the offense. What do you think about what Kenny has said in terms of utilizing Evan Mobley in a different way, especially on the offensive end?
The word that we heard a lot was downhill, right? He wants to get him the ball in transition. Yeah, he's a 7-footer, but he can handle the basketball, makes really good decisions. He's already an elite passer, in the eyes of the coaching staff. So Mobley can do a lot of different things. We've seen it already defensively. I mean, 2 seasons ago, the guy's a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, and he's only 21 years old. So we know what he can do defensively, how he can impact winning on that end. I think the key this year, and a huge emphasis, obviously, Kaylee, get Mobley in a position where he can have the same kind of impact offensively, right? And I think part of that is getting him the ball earlier, getting him some easy buckets in transition. We don't see Evan Mobley get a lot of easy buckets. We haven't seen that for the most part throughout his career. Yeah, he's inside, and when he gets the offensive rebound, he's able for putbacks and things like that. But in terms of in the offense, within the structure of the offense, he has not gotten a lot of easy baskets throughout his career. And Kenny feels that he can improve that in terms of if he gets him the ball earlier and allows him to flow a little bit more, more throughout the possession.
A lot of offensive freedom for Evan Mobley this year. We'll see how Kenny Atkinson plans to utilize him, maybe feeding his local big man and his partner in crime, Jarrett Allen, who is sitting down at the podium now.
Shooting threes more, every single year it's always the talk about J.A. shooting more threes, but hopefully we can finally make that happen. Uh-huh. Yeah, very instrumental. I feel like he's always believed in me. He's always had a faith in me that I can always become a great player. Even when he was my head coach, he's going to say it. But after he left, after he went to the West Coast, he was still keeping in contact with me, praising how well and how far I've come. It means a lot.
Jared, why didn't it work with Kenny and Brooklyn?
A lot of things, Kenny has a certain way of doing things that aren't popular with the masses, but I'm a believer in his methods, and just sometimes things don't work out with coaches.
Why aren't his ways popular with the masses?
He's a very energetic guy, and he's gonna tell you how things need to be. Sometimes I can see it coming off the hard way, but he's gonna push you because I truly think he understands that everybody can become a better player.
So given that, all this talk about what can Kenny do for the Cavs, what new stuff he can do, how could you guys help him succeed?
Never got that question. I don't just be open and honest with them. I think openness and honesty in this league goes a very far way in understanding how teams will work and teams succeed. So as long as we can have an open door of communication, that goes far.
Thinking about how you've already grown in your career, but also how he's kind of unlocked that, is there another stage to your growth that you hope to achieve this season?
I hope so. Every year I want to make something better about myself in terms of on court and off court, and growing in the NBA takes a step in the direction that you didn't know you could make. So I hope that Kenny is able to push me every single day to be a better version of myself.
Is there a goal that you have set for the season?
I want to play all 82 games this year. I want to be able to go out there every single game, every single night, and just be with my teammates. Right. Yeah. Right. It was rough. One funny thing that I always laugh at, you never understand how bad a rib injury is until it happens to you. I was looking at other people, it can't be that bad. And then it finally happened to me. I'm like, oh, damn, this sucks. I couldn't sleep right. You roll over, you wake up with the pain in the side. It didn't finally go down until 2 weeks after the season. I tried shuffling. It's just pain for the whole time you try to do anything. So, now I'm fine. Now I'm fully recovered. It was just a rough, couple of months. It's a big chip on the shoulder. I want to prove that I'm still the player that I am, that I'm still going to be out there every single night trying my hardest and making an impact.
How important is it for you guys to be able to run it back, have those key pieces like Donovan Mitchell, and you guys can really build off
Right. I think it's very important. I'm a fan of the homegrown type of route. Every single year with this group, we've gotten better. We've progressed further on every single thing that we did, whether it's winning more games, making it further in the playoffs, or understanding how each other's play. We've become better every single year in a separate facet of that, and I'm excited to see how we put it all together this year.
Along those lines, just, he signs the extension this offseason, just how exciting was that for you guys, but also what does that say just about, I'm sure the group that you have here that he wants to see this thing through?
All right. It means a lot. It's very easy to nothing against you guys to get caught up in the media. It's genuine. You can get caught up in the media, oh, should you make this move? Should you make that move? But at the end of the day, to run it back with what you have, it just shows his trust in all of us and his trust in that all of us are going to get better.
Jared, why was this the right time for you to sign an extension?
Genuinely, I like it here. Not obviously basketball. I like the city. I like the people here, and it's easy to say in front of everybody just to hype everybody up, but I truly do genuinely like it here, and I believe in it here. And I put in 3.5 years, whatever long it's been, to try to see this team succeed, and I'm genuinely happy that they've put their trust in me for another whatever years.
Jared, to your point about getting caught up in the media, there's some stuff floating around during the playoffs about people might think you can play. What if anything, what kind of conversations did you have to sort of sort that stuff out?
It's like I said, especially with rib injuries and what I've been through, you never understand how bad it is until it actually happens to you. You know, like like I said, I looked at other people and I truly didn't believe it was as bad when it happened to them. You know, and I I finally was on the receiving end of that. But I feel like I'm very sure of myself. I feel like I'm very understanding of if I was able to play, I would play. You know, I've played every single game that season that I could, barring injury. And if I could have, I would have. I did, yeah. I mean, it's on the media. It's understandable. You know, it's like I said, you don't understand until you go through it. No, it takes a lot more to get under my skin.
Jared, one of the things that was kind of maybe a little awkward about the situation was in the injury report you kept being this rib contusion.
Right, right.
After the season, Kobe said pierced rib fracture.
Yeah.
Was that discrepancy frustrating you at all? That people might have thought, oh, this guy's not
right.
as bad.
I think that definitely contributed to the skepticism of the injury. You know, now that it's out, looking at the CT scan, you can still see the piece of bone that's still floating in my body somewhere. You know, so it was definitely a more or a worse injury than people thought. Yeah. I would say like a full 2 weeks. You know.
What's a better feeling, blocking a shot, meeting somebody at the rim, or putting somebody on a post?
I would say blocking somebody's dunk. No, I've always enjoyed it. You know, I want to bring back the finger wag, the no. You know, so I would say blocking somebody's dunk.
Bringing that up, it was just announced that Dikembe Mutombo did pass away.
Oh.
So just a little bit ago, talking
I
about
did not know that.
how important he is to the NBA in this position. How big was his presence in the NBA?
Right. First, rest his soul. I did not know that. It's timing, you know. But like I said, I brought him up, you know. For me, honestly, I know him more for his commercials, you know, which is just how I grew up. I never got to watch him play basketball growing up, but it just shows the impact he's made not only on the court. I know he's done a lot of work worldwide. I know he's done a lot of things all over the world, and he's made an impact in everybody's lives in a different way, including mine.
Jared, you anticipate your role in the offense being different this year as opposed to previous years, and if so, how?
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to be different. I know it will be different. I know Kenny has a scheme in his head that he wants to implement. After training camp, you know, ask me again, and I'll have a better answer.
Jared, you talked about your development in this offense and what kind of your next stage looks like, but
right.
What about just Evan? Like, what do you see from him this summer? And can you
right.
obviously rave about the role that he's going to play in this season? Just what are you expecting from him?
Right. First, I'm super excited for him. You know, he's come into just this off-season, preseason, and it seems like he's taking his game to a whole nother level. Ball handling, shooting, passing, all of it seems like he's taken a step forward and he's ready to take over.
I asked a lot of guys today about who has the best fashion sense on the team and who needs some help. I'm not going to say you landed on that. I want to ask you, how has your style developed since coming into the league?
It stayed consistent for sure. So I'm not too big in the style. You know, every year I find something that I'm more comfortable with and that I want to walk down the tunnel with. So hopefully I can pick it up a little this year.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks.
Well, we got a very special guest with us here on set. We've got the 20th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. That is Jaylen Tyson, the Cavaliers rookie. Jaylen, welcome to Media Day. I know this day can be a little hectic. It's obviously your first. How's it going so far?
It's going well, you know. I'm here with beautiful people like y'all, so, you know, makes it a little bit better.
That's a great start.
Wow.
That's really well done. Jaylen, it got started for you, really. We met you a little bit when you were drafted here in town. You go to Vegas, and that's where this whole journey basically started professionally for you. Take us through how it was in Vegas and what you've done the rest of the summer to get ready for this training camp.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Vegas was fun. I mean, obviously Vegas is fun. Let's be 100. But it was a good experience for me, you know. At first I had jitters. I was nervous as hell. We was in the back gym. I remember it.
Yeah.
But it was a fun experience for me. I obviously I learned a lot, and throughout the games I progressed and got
Right.
better. And towards the end, played really good basketball. We won our last 2 games. Did we? Something like that. We
You
won.
looked good in the last 2
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. So it's been a fun experience, and then leading up to now, you know, I've been here in Cleveland. I haven't been home since the draft, so it's been a long time. I think I just been out here just working, just trying to learn what the NBA life is like, learning from a lot of these vets walking around here. Mad as it. It's super mad, you know, but I get to experience my first one, so I want to have fun with it. But it's been a fun process, and then leading up to training camp now, so I'm excited.
Great.
Obviously, everything is new for you right now, but for this entire team, you've got a new head coach in Kenny Atkinson. What have the conversations been like between you two as you head into training camp and what the season's going to look like?
It's been a love-hate relationship. Let's say that. Let's say that. He just harps on me every time to make quick decisions, you know, and be confident who I am. You know, when I came in, I always was looking to pass. He said, "Look to score. Like that's what you're good at. You're a scorer, right?" But he's a great coach. He's built a relationship with everybody, not just top but also bottom. You know, I'm excited to play for him. Obviously, I've had a lot of people tell me about him and that played for him in my circle, so I'm excited and just trying to win some games.
Like you said, I mean, this is you only get this chance once, right? It's your first training camp. What's your approach coming in? Do you have expectations for yourself? What's the approach? What's the thought process as we head down south?
There's always expectations, you know. Obviously, I want to help win this thing too, you know. My expectation is just to get better every day and learn a little bit. Not go in there and not learn nothing. We got 6 days to get better as a team and just help this team win and learn a little bit more about my teammates and about my coaching staff.
You mentioned that Kenny said, hey, you got to go score the ball. You are a scorer. For maybe fans who weren't able to tune into Summer League, how would you describe your style of play, your game, and what these fans should be expecting?
I would say I'm not the most flashiest dude. I'm just going to get straight to it. Like, we're not going to play with the ball. Let's just make the right read every time. Selfless player. I love to make my teammates around me better, and I try to make the right read every possession, and that's what type of player I am. That's how I was raised, you know, to be selfless. So that's what type of player they should see out of me.
You've been around a lot of these pros all summer. You've been around this new coaching staff. What are some of the things that you've learned that you're going to take into this training camp?
Some of the things that I've learned, the biggest thing was making quicker decisions. In college, you have time to hold on to the ball, play, you know what I'm saying, do all that. Now let's get straight to it, like I said. And playing off ball, that was the biggest thing I had to learn. I was used to playing off ball. I played a little bit when I was at Texas Tech, but yeah, I mean, it's been a fun experience. Obviously, it's a lot of growing pains for sure, but I'm excited and I'm ready to learn.
How about defensively?
Defensively, man, that's been my main focus. That's what's going to get me on the court. Defense and rebounding, that's the biggest 2 things. And every chance I get, I just try to play the best defense and go on from there, you know?
You mentioned some of the guys being mad about Media Day. I think we've learned that over the years. It's not their favorite day of the year, but what can you tell us about your teammates and your relationship with the guys as you've been here all summer and have been able to start really building those?
The one thing I'll say about my teammates is nobody has an ego. Coming in, I thought everybody was going to have an ego. Certain people, it's just a big family here, you know. Obviously, he's a grown man. They got kids back at home, so it's not the type of relationship I had in college. But, I mean, they poured into me, right? Obviously, we're all fighting for spots, all that, but they poured into me and, you know, just want to see me succeed. Obviously, if I succeed, it helps the team succeed. So they're just selfless guys. I'm excited to be in an organization like this and with players like this.
It's interesting, in 30 media days around the NBA, I'm sure there are teams saying, oh, yeah, we've got a lot of chemistry, right? That locker room's great. But you mentioned the authentic, you know, the way that these guys have welcomed you in. What has that meant to you as you are in this new situation and heading into the NBA for the first time?
It means the world, because coming into it, I didn't know none of these guys, right? Like, just walk in the locker room and then, hey, here's your new team, you know? But to have that comfort level from my first week with them, right? My first week with them, by that Sunday, I was like, okay, these are my guys, you know? For my parents, especially for my mother, she's super pleased with it, let's say.
Keep mom happy.
Yeah, you got
to. The best advice we can give you, right?
Best advice. So I'm excited, you know, being able to be in a locker room like that and share this journey that I'm on with these guys and hopefully build long-term relationships outside of basketball.
when you're going through the draft process, obviously you can't control where you land. What does it mean to you to be within an organization and a team right now that is currently competing at a championship level, has been top 4 in the East the last 2 years, has continued to build that continuity and buy into the youth? What is the opportunity that you see for yourself here to be in a situation like that so soon?
So I would speak on the fan base out here. It's a very passionate fan base. I live downtown, so I see all the Guardians fans walking every week, every week. And it was raining yesterday. I seen a bunch of them walking yesterday. So I speak on the fan base and what they like, and I could tell they like energy, like people that are going to play hard, you know. And that's my goal, to come out here and do those 2 things. And obviously they pay a lot of money for these seats, so we want to give them a show every night, you know, and obviously win so we can be in the streets having fun.
There we go.
I just see it happening. I want to be here as long as possible. This is a business, obviously, but I want to be here as long as possible. I want to represent this on the front of my jersey. I want to represent this with class and utmost respect.
He gets it already, right? I mean, it is a wonderful fan base, and you're going to love being here. You know, Kaylee asked you about your game. Are there players in the NBA who you have patterned your game after?
Mm-hmm. So when talking about that, I don't pattern my game after anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a unique game within myself, but I take bits and pieces from players, right? Going into the draft, me and my people sat down and talked about it, and 2 of them that I really liked that are Swiss Army knives was Josh Hart, a winner.
We know him well.
We finna get at them this year for sure. And then another one, Caleb Martin. He played with Miami. He's with Charlotte.
Philly now.
Philly?
Oh, well, yeah.
He's with Philly now?
I think he's Philly, yeah.
Philly, yeah. So those 2 I model my game after, and then take their how would I say it? Take their flaws and make them my, you know what I'm saying, what I do best. So that's the 2 I've learned after, and those are obviously 2 winners, and that's what I want to bring to this organization.
You've said in multiple interviews that the player that you're most looking forward to going up against is another Cal guy in Jaylen Brown. Are there any other players, maybe moments, teams that you're looking forward to facing and being like, wow, I'm here. I'm really now in the NBA?
I would say obviously the Mavericks. I'm from Dallas. Growing up watching my first NBA game was a Dallas game. Don't know who they played against so long ago. But I'm excited to play against everybody. Who's first on our schedule? We got
Toronto. At Toronto.
In Toronto.
So north of the border.
That's who I'm looking forward
to
playing
go.
Against.
That's a good answer.
Right hey, thanks for joining us so much. We know you. These guys are busy, right? He took all the time to come and sit with us. So thank you so much. We're thrilled, like so many others in Northeast Ohio, to have you here and have a wonderful camp. We'll see you down in Florida.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, Jaylen. Jaylen Tyson, the 20th pick for the Cavaliers in this 2024 NBA draft. John, he's ready to go.
Yeah, he is. I mean, even at his introductory press conference, right, teasing the media, right, having a good. I mean, I think he needs to be a little more comfortable in front of the camera, though. That's his one flaw, right?
One thing I will say about this team that has made me nervous time and time again, that you've been a part of on our post-game shows after games, is we have a lot of players that are very comfortable in coming for our jobs.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, we saw live Instagram at the beginning of this, right? Tristan interrupted Donovan. There's another guy who needs a little more work in front of the camera, right? Seems to be really uncomfortable in his skin. But I mean, some characters around here, right? George Niang back for another season. Tristan as well, right?
Yeah.
Tristan in year number 14 back in the mix. Big man depth. Again, part of that luxury that the Cavaliers have. And look at this guy who is stealthily sneaking up to the table. Here he is. Sam Merrill.
You're lucky I already finished my pictures.
Why is that? Why for the hair thing? Your hair is perfect, man. Don't worry about it. Good to see you.
How are you guys?
We're terrific. How was the summer?
Great, yeah. Really quick.
Yeah, no kidding.
It always feels like that.
Take it from the end of the season, Sam. I mean, you have a breakout year, right? You get your chance, and, boy, opportunity knocked, and you knocked the door right down. Take us through what happens from the end of the season, second round ends, to now. For you, you recharge and you have a beautiful young family. How do you take those months and put yourself in a position where you're ready to go mentally and physically right now as we head down to Florida for camp?
Yeah, it's definitely, you want to take some time off to get healthy and recharge your body and whatnot, but at the same time, like, finish the season very motivated for a new opportunity and hopefully what's to come. I tried, last year summer was different because I had summer league,
Right.
so I really didn't get time to just take a little break. But took a couple weeks off, nothing crazy, and by that time I was pretty bored and wanted to get back out there. But I feel like I would go, really hard for a couple weeks and then slow it down for a week or so, so you make sure you're getting your work in and getting better, but also not overdoing it. But yeah, at the same time, trying to enjoy time with family as much as possible, get out on the golf course as much as possible, and get yourself ready to go.
Yeah.
We talked to Kobe Altman on Friday, and he discussed the importance of continuity for this young team, keeping this core together, what you have so special already, and as you continue to build. But you bring in a new head coach this year in Kenny Atkinson, who's talked openly about making adjustments offensively. What have the conversations been like between you two so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. I've enjoyed the time we've had with Kenny so far. We haven't, as a team, gotten into a whole lot of, this is exactly how we're going to do it, but I think we have a good idea of what we're going to try and do. And the other day in pickup, I didn't shoot a three that I thought was pretty contested, like would have. Yeah. And he said something. He told me to shoot it, and then the next, after the game was like, "Hey, this is how you're going to be judged, is how many threes you get up when you're out on the floor." So I'm excited about, what they see for me and how I can hopefully be impactful for this team.
If it's any indication, Kenny in his first couple of comments at Media Day brought up this guy's name without being asked about this guy's name a number of times. It's clear that he's excited about what you can bring to the table. Sam, what are the next steps for this team, right? How does it get – we've heard this time and time again. The goal now – let's keep progressing, right? Get to the next level. We've seen it. You can't skip steps. We've heard that as well. Your season ended in the second round. How does this team get to that next level in your eyes as we head into the year?
Yeah, I think, going through a regular season where you're trying to win as many games as you can, but also at the same time preparing yourself for what the playoffs are like, because they really are very different from the regular season. And it's trying out different things. Yeah. It's getting an idea of, who plays well together and whatnot, and who can handle certain situations and whatnot. But that's a lot of that's up to the coaches. For us as a group, it's developing good habits, developing a style of play. And I think teams sometimes give up on their style when you get to the playoffs too easily. Like, everyone just wants to get into matchup hunting and slow things down, and I don't think it's necessary all the time. So if we can develop good habits of, hey, we have a style that can handle any type of defense, and then, taking care of our bodies, trying to stay healthy, so that, when the time comes, we're ready to go. Because I feel, and I think the whole team feels like we're absolutely capable of getting to that next level. But there's a lot that goes into it, and you can't worry about that right now. You just got to try and get better every day right now.
John mentioned last year being a breakout season for you. Not your first stop. You've made multiple stops in the NBA, but why is this organization such a good fit for you?
Well, I think, number one, they believed in me when a lot of teams hadn't at the point. I remind them of this, that they had opportunities before as well, but it's such a good organization top to bottom. I mean, the Gilberts are great. I reference Paris a lot when people ask about that. Like, the fact that they rented out an entire hotel, brought the entire organization, did a huge big party, and we play Brooklyn, and nothing against Brooklyn. I don't know anything about them, but they basically just had their normal travel party. And what they do with the Better Halves group with the families, they have this incredible family room where my daughter can go and just play for the whole game, so my wife doesn't have to worry about it. That part of the organization is great. But then, just the belief that Kobe and Mike Gansey and Brendan and Laurent and those guys had in me, and then being able to play with a great group of guys that have confidence in me has been a lot of fun, and hopefully that continues this year.
You talk about the confidence that the front office had in you. you play more games last season than you ever had in your NBA career, and like we said, you take full advantage of that opportunity. What was it like for you last season playing that many games in terms of making that adjustment and being ready to go each and every night?
Yeah, it's a grind for sure. It's a physical grind. It's an emotional grind. Like, basically every day is either, okay, it's the day after a game, so you're trying to get your body right. It's the day of a game, so you're mentally locking in, or it's the day before a game, so you're mentally locking in. Like, it's tough, but I felt like I did, with the help of the examples of some of our guys like Donovan and Tristan and Max and George and those guys. Like, I was able to learn pretty quickly what you need to do to make sure you're staying ready. And it wasn't a perfect year for me, but I was obviously very happy to have a chance to play and to prove that I belong at this level and can be effective and impactful.
Yeah, no question, it looked pretty seamless to all of us around the team. Sam, what are your expectations for yourself, maybe goals that you've set coming into this season?
Yeah, I mean, number one for me is I want to be as healthy as I can, be available for every single game. And again, I feel very confident in who I am as a player and my abilities to, play real minutes every single night. But I also understand we got the same group, so there's just going to be battles. We got a lot of depth, and you look at our second unit, and it's Karras and Isaac and Dean and George and Tristan and Ty, who's a good player, and myself and even Craig, who played a lot last year. Like, there's not too many minutes to go around, so I know it's going to be a battle for each of us, but I want to be available. I want to get I shot 40% last year, which is good, but I feel like I'm capable of a couple percentage points higher than that. And then just find a way to be as impactful as I can for this team.
Listen to this guy, 40%, which is good, right?
That could be better.
The benchmark for elite status, which is pretty good. Hey, Sam, always good catching up. Have a great camp. We can't wait to see you back here in Cleveland for another regular season.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much, Sam.
Love the attitude, right?
I love it.
Healthy competition coming into camp, acknowledging the depth and saying, yeah, I played a lot last season in what was a breakout season in the NBA, but I know I still have work to do to earn my minutes this year.
And you and I talked so much about the depth of this team away from the camera and how it's always a challenge. So it's interesting to always hear from a player's perspective the acknowledgement that, hey, it is going to be a battle for us on a nightly basis, but this is a good problem for this team to have. And again, adjustments, that's something that Kenny Atkinson talked about. Hey, maybe it's one guy that fits facing off against this team better tonight, but to put this team in situations throughout the season to prepare them for who they will face off in the playoffs, that's the ultimate goal, and it seems like this team is really locked in on making sure that they're ready for that.
And I think it makes for fun basketball, too, right? I mean, the different combinations, hybrid lineups, who can do what with whom. And that's part of matchups, and you nailed it. I mean, there's 82 of these things, right? I mean, obviously you need to win as many games as possible, but to get as many different looks as you can, and the injuries are going to happen.
Yeah,
so, I mean, again, if you can run, if you can be comfortable running 13, 14 guys out there, which I think the Cavs are perfectly comfortable doing throughout the course of the season, then the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, no question. All right, that's basically going to wrap up our live stream here today, John. Final thoughts as you are getting ready to board a flight. You are going down to Florida. Serena will be there as well. They're going to have, as John mentioned, nightly programming from training camp. So, John, what are you most looking forward to about getting to Florida and seeing from this team as they start this new era under Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah, Cavaliers training camp nightly right here on this network. You're going to see it simulcast as well. So we're going Tuesday to Saturday. So after each and every day of practice, it's going to be myself, Serena, and Tim Alcorn recapping all the action, bringing you some interviews as well from down there. Media day is always one thing, but when they start bouncing the ball and getting it going, I'm interested to see the changes. I'm interested to see the relationship between Kenny Atkinson and his players. And it's always, I don't even know if that's unique to Kenny. I think that's always when you have a new head coach and a lot of new assistants as well. The front bench in terms of the assistants is going to change dramatically as well. To see the relationship between the new coaching staff, the new head coach, and his players, to see how things are tweaked. I mean, that's what again, that's the idea coming into this season. We're going to see things happen a little bit differently, even though the personnel is virtually the same. I think it's going to be fun. Kelly, it's
gonna be
always
fun.
it's always fun, but it's a little added extra layer, I think, this year, and it's in Sarasota, by the way, which would
Well,
be
you
all
have
right.
fun down
Yeah.
there.
Do you think?
You have fun
What,
down
with
there.
this SPF 90
Well,
skin?
guess what? The sun's coming out here this week, finally. We've got the
Yeah.
remnants of the hurricane up here for
Yeah.
the last few days, but I saw the sun's coming out, so
Oh, that's nice.
yeah,
It's good
I'm
to
ready.
hear. Yeah.
We'll be watching the Guardians up here. You'll be down.
You know what? Thank you to the Guardians, by the way, for getting the bye and taking this week off. So when we come back, the playoffs are going to start. I don't know if the sun's, again, for this bronze olive complexion, I don't know if the sun out is a good thing for down in Sarasota, but we'll be ready with the SPF 90.
Well, I can't wait to see what you look like when you come back, John.
Yeah. You think it's special now. You wait You wait till I come back.
Well, ready or not, here we go.
Yeah.
NBA season is back. Cavaliers basketball is back. John, as always, a pleasure joining you on this show here today. That's going to wrap it up from Cavaliers Media Day 2024, presented by Cleveland Clinic. For John Michael, I'm Kaylee Griffin. We'll see you very soon.